Hello, everybody. It's Lazy Leprechaun here, and today we're going over the Steam sale of January 18th, 2023. There are some amazing games in the sale. As you can see from the picture right here, there are some great games on sale. Some of these I will be going over, some of them I won't. Feel free to explore the rest of the sale. I got 15 games here that are all amazing games. Coming up first, we have Choo Choo Charles coming in at $14.99, and it's hitting its first sale ever right now. This game came out just over a month ago, and this is kind of like if you have a bad acid trip while watching Thomas the Tank Engine, you'll probably get this game here. So, the story of this game is you have this crazed train chasing after you, and you have to defeat it. It's not the longest game in the world. It's coming in at about an hour and a half total play time, but it does have some replay value. There's some side stuff that you can do in here as well. It's got some humor to it. There's a lot of jump scares to it. This is a pretty fun game overall for the little bit of time that you'll spend to beat the main campaign. For $15 for the indie game that it is, this is a great buy. Next up on the list, we have the Trine Ultimate Collection, coming in at $17.36. This comes with the Trine Enhanced Edition, Trine 2, Trine 3, and Trine 4. Now you can buy them all individually. They are all on sale individually. Or you can buy the full collection for $17.36. These games are awesome. They're 2D, side-scrolling puzzle games. There's some combat in this game, but it's not the forefront. The whole point is really getting through using your mage, your archer, and your warrior characters in the different ways with the different abilities that they get to complete the puzzles that are in this game. It's a great buy. These games are awesome. The only one I haven't played and or beaten is Trine 3. I've actually heard Trine 3 is the worst one in the series. I can't speak for that, but Trine 1, 2, and 4 are all absolutely amazing games. If you're into the puzzles or the 2D, this is a great buy for you. Plus, there's online co-op. There's the couch co-op option on here as well, so that's a huge selling feature. For the price, this is a definite pickup. Coming up next, we have Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. This is one of the best city building, army building games ever made. I've been playing between this one and Age of Empires 4 for a little bit now. This is coming in at $6.99. This is the definitive edition that comes with a ton of the DLC, but there's also a lot of DLC that you could still purchase on the side as well. Anybody who's played this game or any of the Age of Empires know that Age of Empires 2, for the fan base, this is the best one that they've created. It's a great game. There's still a huge fan base to it. This game also added in new campaigns, new civilizations, and a co-op mode as well, so you can again play with your friends. And there's more to experience from the base game. For $6.99, definitely should pick this one up. Next up on the list, we have Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. This is a 2D Metroidvania game. It also it has some RPG elements to it. You can change out your equipment. Your stats get boosted as you level up. It's made from 505 Games, which we all know is a really good company. This is a fantastic buy for $13.99. I believe it comes in around 25 hours total to just play the main story. So you're getting about 50 cents an hour for your playtime. This is awesome. It has a huge emphasis also on like crafting equipment, dismantling, borrowing again into that RPG element. So again, $13.99. This is a great buy if you're into the Metroidvania RPG style games. Coming up next, we have Ghost Runner, coming in at $10.49. I played Ghost Runner about a year and a half ago. I never beat it. It was a touch difficult. It's a very fast-paced action game set in a cyberpunk universe, and you play as this cyberpunk ninja. And there's some wall running. There's some pretty cool things you can do with the horizontal travel. The verticality's there as well, but like the wall running and then you kick off the wall to fast stab a guy and whatnot. It's a whole lot of fun. The game looks absolutely beautiful as well. The lighting and the reflections, it just adds a whole layer of depth there while you're playing. For $10.49, this is a great buy. And if you're curious about it, there is also a demo that you could play before you actually pick this game up. Next up on the list, we have Killer Instinct. This takes the game that came out in the 90s to a new era. You have a lot of the same classic characters here. They have a lot of the same moves. You have your combo breakers. There's some added stuff here. You have an instinct gauge now that works in a similar way to the Mortal Kombat X-ray gauge. Not as intense, but as you fill the gauge, it has different steps to it, and you can get buffs depending on how full that meter actually is. For a fighting game, coming in at $9.99, this is an awesome deal. It's a great buy. If you're a fan of the old Killer Instinct, the revitalization of it's really good. They stepped it up a good notch. It's a lot of fun. Next up, we have Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, coming in at $7.49. This is a game that I've been meaning to finish for a little bit now. It's in my backlog, but the little bit of it that I have played, it's been great. It's from Ninja Theory, who's made things like DMC, Heavenly Sword from back in the day. They're really fun games. This takes a journey with Senua, a whole new dimension. Combat's not at the forefront of this game. You're going on her journey, and she has a heavy case of psychosis. And this game really emphasizes on the whole mental health aspect and what she goes through. It also has updated graphics. It has a great story. I highly recommend picking this one up for $7.49. It's not the longest game in the world. It's coming in at about 7-8 hours to beat it. But the journey with Senua is fantastic. Definitely worth a buy. Next on the list, we have Mortal Shell. This game, if you happen to miss it while Epic Games was giving away all their free games during Christmas, this one's coming in at $10.49. This is a Souls-like game that's a little different than your typical Souls-like. So you play as this demonic-looking creature, and you have to find shells. The shells are your different classes of character, and it does borrow heavily into the Souls-like combat where you have to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge to make sure that you don't die. But you do have kind of a free pass in combat. Once your health goes down to 0, the inner demon inside of the shell gets flung out, and if you get hit once, you're dead. But if you can make it back to your shell, you can get back in with a full health bar. Now, that only happens once, so if you're dying multiple times to the same boss, that's going to be an issue. This is an open world game as well. The map isn't the greatest, so there is some time that you're going to get lost, or you might walk to the same location twice. You kind of either have to make a mental map of where you've been, or you can look one up online where somebody has actually made the map of the entire area. If you like Souls-like combat, if you like that dark aesthetic, this is a great buy at $10.49. Next up on the list, we have Turbo Golf Racing. This comes in at $12.05. Usually I don't advocate early access games. I feel like you're just paying for a beta, but I've played this one, and this is a ton of fun. They have the live multiplayer now, so this is kind of like Rocket League meets like a Mario Golf-esque style game. So you use your car, it's got a giant scoop on the front of it. You can flip and spin and speed boost and whatnot. The whole goal is to get the ball into the hole before your opponents. To actually win does provide quite a challenge. I've only won a couple of times, but it's a ton of fun to play. It's high octane arcade style driving. There's little traps like if the ball hits a sand trap, then it pretty much immediately slows down. There are these little warp portals that if you hit the ball into it, it sends the ball flying toward the pin. There's a ton of different upgrades you can do on your cars. They have a shop there that changes weekly and daily. To my knowledge, there are no microtransactions to this game, and that's an even bigger bonus why I'm recommending it to you all. So coming in at $12.05, you want to have some fun online, just driving around hitting golf balls. It's a fantastic pickup. So next up on the list, we have Fist Forged in Shadow Torch. So this was another game that came out when Epic was giving away all their free games around Christmas, and I managed to pick this one up as well. This is another Metroidvania game. This is 2D. It has a huge emphasis on combat. There's a lot that you can actually build up, different combos and whatnot. The story's really good. The voice acting's really good. There's a lot of platforming in this game, and some of it does make you actually think about how to get to certain places. This game is a lot of fun. If you're curious about this as well, there is a download for this one too, but it's coming in at $17.99, and this is a great buy if you're into these Metroidvania games. Next up on the list, we have the Halo Master Chief Collection. So the Master Chief Collection has Halo Combat Evolved, Halo Reach, Halo 2 Anniversary Edition, Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, and Halo 4. So that's a total of 7 different Halo games coming in here. It's $15.99. The cool part with like Halo 1 and 2 is you can press a button and you can change it between the classic graphics, what they looked like on the original Xbox, and then the remastered graphics. And in the first Halo, it is an amazing difference between those two games. What it looked like when Halo came out versus what it looks like 20 years later. The only game this doesn't have in it is Halo 5. As far as I know, you cannot play Halo 5 on PC. That's still an Xbox-only game. But the Halo Master Chief Collection runs at 4K, 60 frames a second, has ultra-wide support, no cap for the frame rate. It's got every sync option you can have in it. It's an absolutely gorgeous game or set of games. The Halo story has always been a favorite of mine ever since I was a kid. I've been playing them. For $15.99, this is a great time to pick this up. So next up on the list is the next Halo game that you can get, past 5, is the Halo Infinite campaign. This comes in at $29.99. I've been pretty addicted to Halo Infinite. I've been playing it co-op with a friend of mine, and we've been having an absolute blast with it. There's a ton of Easter eggs in here. There's some cool secret weapons. Like if you want to look it up, there you can actually get the Scorpion tank gun to just walk around with. It's in a hidden spot in the beginning of the game. It's an absolute blast to play with. It does take a lot of the challenge out when you do use that gun. But if you're playing on the easier difficulty anyhow, or if you just want to get past Legendary a little bit quicker, it's a great game, or it's a great gun to use. And this is a great game overall. It's an open world platform, and there are bases that you can take over, these little towers that you can take over. There's full-on story missions to go through. There's a ton of content in this game. The replayability is huge on it. I highly recommend picking this up for $30. Next up on the list, we have Ori and the Will of the Wisps. This is the second game in the series, and this was... I didn't think this could happen, but this game actually surpassed the first. You can, as you see at the bottom of the screen here, you can buy Ori the Collection, which comes with the Blind Forest as well as the Will of the Wisps for $13.39. If you haven't played the first Ori game, I recommend picking up that bundle. If you have played the first Ori game and you want more Ori, this game is absolutely fantastic. It's an amazing experience. This game hits you in the feels just as much as the first one did. The first playthrough I ever did of Ori and the Blind Forest, I remember being in tears twice from the story, It's told in a fantastic way. The soundtrack is amazing to this. It's another 2D Metroidvania style game, and you play as this, not sure what to call Ori. Kind of a rabbity mouse, but it's bipedal, so I'm not really sure. She's a lot of fun to play with. She gets a ton of different abilities. The platforming in this game is awesome. There's a lot of precision that's needed in the platforming as well with the different abilities that you get. There's quite a few moments, even in the first game, that I found myself getting frustrated trying to get through a part, not because the game was too difficult, but because my skills were lacking. For $9.89 for the single game or $13.39 for the collection, these are games that are an absolute must buy and should be in everyone's library. So next up on the list, we have Sword and Fairy 7. This is an action RPG game that is set in Chinese mythology, and it is a great game. It's an absolutely gorgeous game as well. The visuals are stunning when you turn up the settings. I hope that they have actually fixed or patched some of the optimization issues. I haven't played this game in a little while, so I couldn't tell you if they have or not. But you don't need a killer system. You don't need like an RTX 4080 to run this. You could get away with like an RX 480 and still run this game medium, and it's going to look absolutely beautiful. If you have a better system than that, you're going to run it better, and it's going to look even better than that. The fighting, the combat is really fluid. It's an awesome combat system. You don't have to fight with the camera in this game. It's your typical action RPG where you have your heavy attacks, your light attacks, skills you can combo into there. You have a dodge button. It's a great experience if you're into the Chinese lore, or if you're into the action RPGs. This coming in at $20.99 is a great deal. And again, you can see at the bottom right, if you're skeptical on buying this and you want to try it out first, there is a demo for you to try out first. But I promise you, you're going to love this game. Last up on the list, we have Risk of Rain 2. The most reviewed game on this list, coming in with 150,742 reviews, and we're hitting overwhelmingly positive. So they must have done something right. This is a third-person shooter game. It's a roguelike. You're sent down as a survivor onto an alien planet, and you got to figure out how to get off of it. There's a ton of enemies that you fight. You're constantly getting loot. It's almost a looter shooter in a way, but it has that roguelike element that when you're finally done, if you don't escape, then you start all over. But it doesn't have a slow buildup. It's pretty much as soon as you land, you're shooting. It is made from Gearbox. We all know Gearbox is big into the looter shooters. They're a great company with this. It's got the multiplayer aspects to it, so you have like the online co-op. It has full controller support, which it should. It's a great game. Coming in at $12.49. It's definitely a must-buy, especially with the amount of positive reviews that this has. So there we go, guys. We got 15 games in this Steam sale, all of which I recommend picking up. If you can shoot me a like and a subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. And let me know in the comments down below which games you're picking up in this sale.